We're back.
And welcome everybody. We're back. Now we're live. This will be interesting. So for welcome everybody to the first round of MarTech Rumble. And let's see how this all happens and goes. Great. Yes, everything works. That's good. So now we're live on Twitch, we're live on YouTube Live, and we're live on LinkedIn.
Great. How you
And
can check that?
I've just got it live. I've just opened up the tabs. That's a good point.
That's the
And
best
hello,
test.
everybody. Welcome.
Hello. Can we also
And
see how
this'll
many
be-
people are just watching right now?
So on LinkedIn, it's 10 currently,
Okay.
but it's always with a slight delay. Yeah, that's so we're already deep in the field because what we're doing is actually a bit of marketing technology.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
yeah, we're cross streaming, so we're already deep in the topic of what we're going to talk about today. Which, Benjamin, yes, everything is recorded, so it's recorded
Yeah,
on
unfortunately.
YouTube, recorded on Twitch, and it'll be recorded also on LinkedIn. You can rewatch. So we're going to spam the network with everything. So, Timo, first of all, thanks to making this happen. Really looking forward. And I'm going to start with an initial question, which is how do you actually understand marketing technology? What's marketing technology for you?
Yeah, very good. Sorry that I have loved. So we're still playing a little bit around with different camera perspective. Philipp is definitely ahead in the game of me because he has two. I just have one. And so, but next time it will be better. Okay. So, marketing tech category. So my classic joke is like I think the major marketing tech tool is out there and it's out there for 20 years or so. It's like Excel, and so it's like this opening up. And so this is what I mean. This is already explained it. So I think MarTech. So of course, like the category is huge, and in the end, like you can count a lot of different tools in this, and like different tools that you usually maybe not think of it as first thing. So of course there's stuff which is highly related to marketing. Let's say advertisement platforms, bid management, anything like that. But in the end, like task management tools, in the end are also like kind of MarTech because they can be part of your tool chain to do stuff. I think maybe we should explore it a little bit today, also like from the, let's say, the goal perspective and use case perspective. So to really see, okay, what is the purpose of MarTech in the end? So,
Yeah.
but this is like my quick initial answer to that.
Yeah, I think the definition depends, as always, upon the goal that you want to achieve, not only with your marketing, but with the complete journey of contacts that you have with your prospects to your customers, and even to churned customers. And marketing technology for me is more or less the tools that enable your organization to combine data flows, and customer interactions into not only a single source of truth, which would be what we call customer data platform, but also enables you to not think in those different silos anymore, which would be marketing against sales, which would be customer service against marketing, stuff like that. But to combine that and enable, for example, your CRM system together with your email service provider to actually send targeted emails based on backend interactions that were triggered from your customer service, for example, when somebody triggered a refund. And that they not only get their standard transactional emails, yes, we've triggered a refund, but then that they're also pushed into a segment where it then says, okay, why have you left us? What can we do better next time? Stuff that then again enables marketing and sales to optimize their communication and to better help them get better understand their customers and better understand their prospects.
But it's quite interesting that you already narrow it down like this. So this is because when I think about MarTech, I would really even take, so for example, when you look into brand stuff, so what you just said is basically it's really like already customer interaction, let's say. Retention-based marketing, or not retention, but also like already, if you're on B2B, it could also be prospect marketing and so on. But you already are in this customer view. But I think like MarTech can also be interesting in the whole brand building. And so like the stuff we're doing right now, so which of course could be like a customer funnel, but mostly it's like I don't know, creating awareness, defining ourselves in the open space. And so, and I think this is the interesting part, that MarTech can be, I mean, of course, like technology can be interesting. And I think it starts to get into these different areas too. So when you see what's happening in the brand sector, it's not just like, yeah, we have a Google Drive folder where our logos are. So you can spend 3 weeks in this space. I did it at some part in the past to figure out. Okay, yes, it is a legitimate rabbit hole you can go into, and you can spend weeks in to streamline your brand assets in a way. So I think this is the interesting part, but which also makes it totally hard to come up with a definition. I mean, you posted this, and I still don't know if I like it or not. I think it's one great marketing stunt, this MarTech map, because like the guy who invented it, I think he built basically a business around it, and so, which is great. But in the end, it's I don't know. So it's just cool because it's massive, but it doesn't really tell you something about MarTech in the end. It's just so. There are tools, and so we all know that like tools are tools, and tools by itself doesn't really solve anything in the end.
Yeah, the good old saying, a fool with a tool is still a fool. And as we also all know, garbage in, garbage out. So it all conveys the same message. But what you're just referring to, I'll just quickly stream it in. This is the marketing technology landscape from Chief MarTech. And I think also there's a German version created by, quickly let me check, it was created by Jens Polomsky, who just took the German landscape and tried to arrange it. And there are also interesting parts. But what I really find interesting, and that's why I'm just zooming in actually, is what you've just said about the different sectors. We've got not only stuff in our core field about data, but then you've got also stuff in it for collaboration. You've got vendor analysis, you've got management, you've got talent management in there. We've got all of the stuff around e-commerce. So marketing technology in its core is everything that enables you to make this interaction with customers, and that can also be content, and that's also brand building, because a brand is only built once somebody interacts with something that you've put out there. That could be a product, that can be a piece of content, that can be an ad, that can be a reply, or that can be a tweet. So it's just because otherwise nobody would know, and that can even be word of mouth, because without you enabling somebody to talk about you, there is no brand. It's the reception. So, and this is really fascinating, because marketing technology is also your content management system. It's your asset management system. It's your potentially it would also be your enterprise resource planning. Depends upon how your processes and how your organization is structured. So we've just got an interesting comment from Markus Rach. No,
you can put them in like this.
Yes,
this is nice.
This is fancy.
So sorry, you will hear us rambling about the technology today as well, because I see it for the first time. Oh, cool.
Thus, it allows for definition and contrast to org tech, sales tech. So first of all, yes, Marcus, you're right. We could differentiate this way more. And completely agree from where you're coming from. But I think the honest point being is that what's going on here? German party people. That's interesting, bot. Sorry, I don't know. So we've got another random comment, but I don't know from whom this is. So whoever you are, welcome. But I think at the core, MarTech, and let's include organization and technology, sales stuff. If we say CRM is more sales related, CDP is more marketing related. For me, we could maybe even rephrase it.
That makes sense.
It's interaction technology, yeah, and it's stuff that enables you to go into a deeper level of interaction with the people who you'd like. Juliana. Yeah, we don't see your name. So
As I said, it makes sense. So yeah, just LinkedIn user for us. But of course, we know you.
Yes, we do, and it's great to have you here. So coming back to the first point that you made about marketing technology, and what it practically is, it's about goals and what you can achieve. And I think a nice story there was that when we launched Tirreno Automotive Aftermarket, Sebastian Vettel as brand ambassador, huge TV ongoings, one of the first things that we actually started was, because the tire market is, it's like with a good mattress or stuff, those things just have a long period of lifespan, so your retention isn't that good. And one of the first things that we then started was actually building up a CRM, and with that, a communicational flow based around emails to actually not only get our brand up, which for what we need in technology, but the other hand, to also enable them to create like a buzz, word of mouth, for their friends, colleagues, and families, how easy it is. And the interesting part there was, why I'm rambling about this, is that we again included a booking calendar where you book when you want your tires changed. And now my question is this booking widget, would that be marketing technology, or is that a feature of my application?
Well,
what would you say?
I think it's both. So this is the thing why you cannot really make a clear cut between both. So, and I think with this different definitions, it serves a different purpose. So of course, like as an application feature, you also look at it maybe with different kind of data. So you would look in like you apply usually product data or product analytics stuff on it, and on a marketing perspective, it's a step in a funnel. So of course, like in the end, it's the same from data perspective, it's the same data point, but it gets used in a different way. And I think this is the interesting part, which comes up now, is like to understand it like this. So this in the end, of course, like we build a huge tech setup in your company in different ways, and you can, I mean, this is something, the interesting thing, that you sometimes figure out that there's stuff there, for example, for product side, that you can use for marketing, and vice versa. So that's so this is, and I mean, there's this whole movement of product that grows, which basically like moves marketing and product together. Then there is the combination always like between sales and marketing to think, okay, how this goes together, and this like the question with sales tech and marketing tech. So of course there's a lot of overlaps you can see.
I actually like that from Benjamin, the last sentence. Isn't any tooling that supports streamlines marketing efforts marketing tech? And I'd agree. I'd fully agree on that. This exactly transforms the thinking, and that was your introduction, actually, Timo. You said Excel is a marketing tech, or can be a marketing technology tool. What I've taken, I've currently built a mini CRM system in Microsoft Power BI for one of my clients, then combined with a Microsoft Power App, but still, That's then again, I've taken something out of the field of data visualization, and bent it to my will, and then enabled them without then coming up and saying, okay, we now need to set up HubSpot, or we now need to set up Salesforce, or maybe some open source selection, which will be a topic that we're going to talk about, open source marketing technology, because I really want to dig into Jitsu and all of that stuff. Side note, actually then thinking about what stuff is out there that's built in Google Sheets, or that's built in Excel.
Airtable.
Because a lot of the
Notion.
tools that we have just took something that was built in Excel and just then put a nicer interface on it, and now it's being sold for $35 per month, stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I mean, my take is, and I have a very narrow view on this, because I see everything through this world view. Is like, in the end, what we see in MarTech is basically operations. And so what I believe is like, so I have a software background. And so of course, like I have background also like in DevOps, and I saw DevOps evolving in the software space. And when you ask yourself, why can we do all this stuff, what we can do today, this is, I don't know how much percentage, but let's say 50, 60% percentage, this attributes to DevOps. DevOps enables us to do all these crazy things that we do, because it helps us to operate our whole software operate. And it helps us to do two things. It helps us to move fast, to keep speed up, and at the same time increase quality, which is totally crazy when you just think about it. But in the end, this is basically the purpose, what I see with operations. And if you apply this to marketing, it's the same. So good MarTech in the end improves operations, and then it helps you to move faster, to test out more things. So you can maybe do more experimentation, so you can try new channels and so on. But on the other hand, keeps the quality standard up, because this is always the problem. If you start, people always mistake moving fast with, you break things, because like this word is out there in the world and you don't get it out of it. But of course, like it's built on a huge operational stack, which, for example, Facebook helps them to move fast and break things and fix them pretty quickly, hopefully. And I think this is the interesting part with marketing tech. And this, of course, this can be any tool. So if your Power BI, Airtable, Notion, I don't know thing is built in that way that it can scale, and that it can automate things, and that it can then it can keep some kind of that it can keep some things, that it can keep some kind of quality standards, and maybe even increase quality standard. I think this is the interesting part, increasing quality standard over time. Then it's great. So then it's proper marketing tech in the end. And this also, like, this creates the arc over everything. So if you look into brand, into customer stuff and so on, this thing is really like, how to say, this is really like what helps in the end, if it really creates this. Oh, this is a long question.
No, that's a huge comment from Juliana. What I just wanted to add is, on LinkedIn, now you've got a growing also role about MarTech operations. So really, people that are, like we had around the sphere of, let's say, 2014, where this new role of DevOps, so development operations, what you just talked about, continuous integration, test management, operational flows, containerization, all of that stuff, that should enable dev to really get a grip on it. Now then into the field again of marketing, because as Julianne just wrote, I'll just put it on the screen, that intimidating tech stack that's now around more or less nearly all companies when they're SMEs. And I think that role of the combination of understanding marketing, so understanding communication, and then not only understanding advertising and understanding tech, That was the role of, fancy wording, growth hacking. But I think this marketing operations goes way deeper, because let's say your CRM system breaks because the linkage from your backend to your CRM system just collapses because of a deployment. Who's going to fix that? Is that your technology? So is that your CTO and the IT? Or is that practically somebody that understands why you need it, which fields you need, and which data you need over there? And
Yeah.
I think it should be somebody that then can communicate in both worlds, which is marketing operations.
And first of all, it has a responsibility. I think this. Florian has this great question about like it's two really good questions, and what like I would go for the last one.
Okay, we'll take the
like,
last one.
which are established best practices on how to use said tools, and I think this is evolving. So it's not a final answer on that, but one answer I can definitely give is like, have a stakeholder for each tool. So have one person at least in your team who's basically, this is your tool, and so you are the one who is responsible for that. So you are the one who have to learn it. You have to be in touch with everything that's happening there, and so you are the one who's responsible for running it, which is then the operational part. And yeah, so I think like also like just a quick side note on Juliana's question is like how you bring this together, like the tech part and the creative part. I think a good setup with MarTech makes it like this, that marketing tech is there to make the lives of the creative marketing people better. So to really improve them and to help them to basically don't have to think about all this. So don't get blocked by all this stuff so pulling data into Excel, I don't know, or hacking something together on Zapier or so, which then breaks after 3 days. And so to basically, I mean, imagine a world where you don't really have to take care of all this. So this is all running in the back end, and you just can come up with new ideas, test them immediately. I mean, this is basically what I see right now, like at the moment, like really the best state where you can then end up, so that you really have a working platform of technology that basically helps you to move in this kind of fast way, and to don't have to think about. So basically, this is also like the role which I always see in data is like, I don't want to have marketing people write SQL queries. So I mean, there are people out there who believe that this can ever happen, and I think it doesn't make sense. So they are super great in the marketing job, and let them do their marketing job and support them with the stuff which is out there. Don't let them think about, okay, how can I pull this table out of my data warehouse? I mean, there are always people like you, Philipp, and so on, who easily can do this, of course, and this is great. But don't assume that, I don't know, that everyone is like that, and it don't have to be. So they have to be great in their job, and everything that can help to make their job better totally helps. And so I think this is also like something which MarTech often should be there. And so like Florian asked, why are so many MarTech tools? I think the easy answer is like, because there's a market for it. So I mean, they seem to sell stuff, and so it might work. And it's also like, because I don't know, there are so many use cases where people think this should be better. And this might be, I think this might be, so when coming from jobs to be done, so this might be like the first thing that starts the journey. So you are there and something frustrates you in your marketing job, be it like, I always have to write my numbers manually into an Excel sheet. And so you think, there must be something that does it automatically. And then you look into it and you discover something like super metrics, and then maybe funnel, and then go beyond. And so then you basically open up this whole space. But in the end, all these tools exist because they always have different angles, different shapes, different possibilities, and so on. And it also makes it pretty hard. So I cannot tell you what's the best tool to do Excel data integration. I know some tools that I've tested, but don't know if it's the best. So, which makes it fun and complicated as well.
Yeah, I think the interesting part there is what you said. Does a marketeer because we've always got this description of the T-shaped marketer. So you've got them knowing about social media, knowing about content, knowing about search, knowing about paid, programmatic, direct to consumer, branding, yada yada yada, and then they should go down one stream and really be an expert also in that field. And now my thinking came, should we actually add tech to that role? So some sort of development, and then you've got somebody who knows around all of those channels, and then is the tech guy. So he can write code very good. He can do front ends. So maybe he's that ominous full stack developer that enables you to build whatever you dream up with. And I think, yes, that fully makes sense, because coming from this marketing technology background, and then also thinking about communication is a lot also about testing. And then we're in the field of A/B testing, we're in the field of user experience design, and none of us know, without letting our ideas collide with reality, which is A/B testing, which is testing. And you need somebody to set that up. And that should be a person with tech knowledge. That should be a person that can drive your technology stack, because a lot of this can then be automated in tech, can be automated in a data flow that's being quickly written in Python, or that can be then set up as a personalization micro engine written in JavaScript just on your landing page. And you can then quickly hack stuff together. So I think the whole point that we're actually talking about is, how much tech knowledge do you need in today's marketing teams? And that's not only development skills, but that's also a knowledge about, where does our data come from? How do we get it? How do we consolidate it? How do we enrich it? Where do we reuse it? Which would be one of the things that we could talk about in the future, about that buzzword, or not really buzzword, of reverse ETL. So how do we get the stuff from our data warehouse, from our backend, back into the tools that we actually use to re-engage our prospects and our customers?
Google App Script,
for example.
No, it's a valid approach.
Yes,
I have two things to add. First of all, I'm always a little bit hesitant with this T-shaped thing, because in the end, it ends up then with this LinkedIn job postings where you actually think, oh yeah, you're looking for a team, not for a person. Because then I think like HR departments take this basically wrong in a way. I think like the interesting part comes really together how you set up a team. And I think this is something that really will change. And so that tech becomes, so like tech persons become part of a marketing team. And I think this is important. So then we have the same questions. So like, how do you set it up? We have the same questions like we have in data. So like, do you have this satellite ambassador model, which I think is really good. And so because you have to have people like, let's assume you have really like a developer or a tech savvy person within the marketing team, then I think it's a good part, because in the end, they need to have all the marketing context. So it doesn't help that you say, okay, we take now 2 people from the development team and they work together with marketing. So I can already tell you this is not very likely to work out, because they have to live and breathe the marketing team. They have to sit in the weekly meetings to see how we do this campaign, because then the stuff will come up. Then they will see someone telling them, yeah, then I have to pull this down and so this, and then, yeah, well, it's so easy. I can write a script for that. And the second thing I wanted to add, because you said like set up things, and this is like, I just want to say, I think this is important about MarTech, is like, setup is simple. It's always, setup is the great thing. It's like everyone enjoys it, setup is great. And so it's like a party, but maintaining the stuff over time, this is where it's really challenging. And this is like where also why you really need the dev people or dev focused people in there, because in the end, you build something that other people will work on. So you come in this area where usually if it's an external provider, you will have something like service level SLAs, acceptance levels, or I don't know, how do you spell it out? But in there you have SLA. So in the end, this stuff has to be there and it has to work. I mean, it's nothing more annoying when someone is relying on your stuff to create a marketing or an email campaign, and then just they want to set it up and nothing is working anymore. Or they have set it up and just want to analyze it and nothing is working anymore before everything is gone. And so, I mean, it's an interesting time.
You don't have your contact in. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you have your
or
email support level, and then you're waiting 3 days for thanks. My managing director
you
is
need
not
that
waiting
data
3 days.
then ASAP.
Yeah,
Exactly. Which again brings us back to marketing operations, and which again brings us back to having a dedicated person or even a dedicated team that has the deep knowledge. And that then brings you to actually also how tech teams are set up. You've got more or less your product teams. You've got your designers, you've got your PMs, so product or project managers. Sometimes you've got an agile coach running around, like a headless chicken. And then you've got the actual devs. And conveying that then into the field of marketing technology, we've again got the designer, which would be strange if we didn't. We've got the PM, which in some roles is marketing management, or then the hands-on marketing manager of dedicated channels. And then you need the people who enable the managers to actually use the stuff that the organization has throughout out-of-home advertising, throughout social media, throughout websites, and optimizing the blog. And this is quite interesting because this, for me, practically also means in SEO, for example, you've got this huge aspect of technical SEO.
Mhm.
And I think those, in my eyes, are in many aspects ideal people to actually then transform them also into the roles of marketing technology, because they've already understood web technology.
Yeah.
Because that's at the core of what your search bots love. It has to be fast, it has to be responsive, it has to be yada yada yada. Yes, there's a lot of different stuff. So if any SEO guys and girls are currently watching, sorry, yes, I'm massively misunderrepresented what you have to do. But just to get my point across, those are, in my eyes, people that you can easily get into that role to make your organization more agile, because those are then the people who understand what the value of a stable tech ecosystem is within your marketing. It won't be the person doing branding. It won't be the person doing digital out of home. It won't be the person doing creative, programmatic, yada yada, header bidding optimization on their ad server, because most of that is still magic sauce, that black box that nobody really understands. So you need somebody who's already invested, and that can be either your marketing analyst or that can be your technical SEO person.
Interesting thought. No, I think that's an interesting idea, and you're totally true. So if you look into marketing teams, SEO was always the most tech savvy area, and it still is. So because you have to understand at least like some kind of amount of tech, and so you also like always start to build around more with tooling around. So you always have your SEO tools, and you sometimes already start to create some connected reports, some connected pipelines, and so this can be interesting. But I was also point out, I'm 100% sure if you go into a regular development team, you always find one or two people who are totally interested to learn more about marketing. I know a lot of developers who always say, yeah, I really would love to learn more about marketing, because this is like, it's a different planet for me, but I'm totally curious to see what's happening there. So I think finding people to move into the space shouldn't be that hard. And so, for example, if you look into web designers and so on, so of course, like they have to think about marketing. So they are already overlapping. But I'm still thinking that they are also like backend people and so on, or database people who love. I mean, it's a great experience to maybe even like do 1 or 2 year to move to a team that is handling totally different stuff, but you can bring your knowledge into that and to help them to speed up. And the great thing is like you will have immediate impact. So it's I can definitely tell if you are a tech person, you go into a marketing team, you will have immediate impact. And be it like that you automate some stuff that annoys everyone every week, which takes time. And because
I'd hand out the question actually to our viewers. We had the comment from Juliana about their tech setup. So maybe do you guys and girls want to inform us how is marketing technology currently handled in your organizations? How does the data get into your CRM? How is your ESP connect, so your email service provider, which more or less often is then the email send out entity for your CRM system? Maybe you're using an A/B testing tool. So how's that integrated? Do you use a tag manager? We're just talking a bit about the situation. And I think the most important part is who's in control and who's taking care of the maintenance, because as Timo already said, at core, it's maintenance. So I've just got a client that just texted me today, is that the tracking setup is completely blown out, which I'll take care after our little talk today. So that'd be really interesting if you guys
just roll back to the last version in GTM.
No, it's a Matomo setup.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, via Zapier and Integral Mat.
Ooh, so that's interesting. That's interesting.
So you're using both at the same time, Tobias?
I guess yes, because you have to, because I use the same at the same time as well, because they are not all covering the same stuff.
Yeah.
So my take usually is like, when I can use Integral Mat, because it's at least for me, it's a lot better than Zapier. But sometimes you have to use Zapier, because people usually integrate first with Zapier, then with Integral Mat. It's interesting to see.
And then here we've got a comment from Florian based around what you just said. So practically at the end of the day for him, it's around, again, marketing being customer, Florian as a data engineer. And we worked at the same, so we together worked at Lamudi, where he did all of the data integration and data analysis for my marketing team. And he's just asked, often a seasoned expert such as, oh, that's nice, Philipp, required to set up everything correctly. Are there any tools or practices out there to help people to do this? So yes, there is for tracking. So not only a tag manager, but for example, toolings like our good friends that also posted about this nice little thing. Timo, you know who I'm talking about?
Well, I have some ideas, but I'm just waiting.
They are from Hamburg. Should I give you more tips?
Yeah, then I know.
And,
yeah, they have some nice, they have some interesting ideas about that. That's right.
Yeah, and or like the guys from now this gets Gentis, for example, also helps you. So everything, or like a Jitsu, what these tools more or less do is they're a data hub for everything around. You could then again call them CDP or something else, and help you then to reroute everything where you want it to have. And because they are then taking care of the integration from client and server side interactions to wherever you want them. So that came from the classic of tag managers.
Yeah, right. They all come from the tag management area, mostly. No, it's basically like it solves the problem for you that you at least centralize this point, so that you don't have 6 or 10 tracking things floating around, and you have different events in one tool and different events in another tool. So you basically solve this stuff, and this is an operational or maintenance things as well. So you just do it once, and then once it's there, you just pass it on to different tools, which is definitely a good idea. So if you want to think about improving your marketing tech stack, have one tracking entry point, put it like this, and that passes the data on to different places. Which brings, so like Tobias said, middleware. I think middleware is a good name for everything. I think a lot of MarTech stuff relies on middleware, is middleware, and so on. And yeah, problem with middleware is always like it has to work in all directions, and it has to work properly. And so, and for example, one of my problems with Zapier and Integral Mat is always like, so if I would be the ops person to integrate it, it's like, you can hook up really hard into proper, let's say, monitoring, alerting, fallback. I mean, I don't even know if you can even save versions and you have some kind of repository for them. So like my usual take is like, version control. So yeah, this is not so great. So there are other alternatives out there which have this, but this would be too nerdy to go into this right now. So.
For today.
Yeah, for
we'll
today.
Get
so, yeah, we are on high level today.
We'll get there. But just coming back to the role of, or the setup of a marketing team, I think because and a lot of times we've got the same discussions then about, you've got your BICC, so Business Intelligence Competence Center, which at the core is then those guys that take care of all data loading and then distributing it into different data marts or however your data setup is. And the important part there is that then your analysts are also part of your units, so of your customer service, of your marketing, of your sales, or however you then call them. And that's why, and the important part there is because they then learn about what's the current strategy, what are the goals that we have, and they can ask, why do you need this? And they'll understand the answer because they've also got the domain knowledge of that field. And it's not like then you've got that external person who then comes in and says, I need this for that and that reason. It's really in the sense of they're already fully, I don't want to say ingested because that's the wrong word currently, but they're fully invested. That's what I meant. They're fully invested in the culture and the way of doing things. And that's also a lot because if you just digitalize a bad process, you still got a shitty process. So the tool doesn't help you so marketing technology doesn't make your marketing better. It's, as you said, it increases the quality and it increases the leverage of optimization, and it reduces then partially the spend that you have, time invested to get those messages out there. But it doesn't make your strategy better. First strategy, then tech, I think is the last field that
no. So you mentioned something which should be in between. I think this is process. So before maybe even like before implementing any kind of, or like to decide what kind of tool you want to need, go into process design. So map out the processes that you already have. And I can tell you, this is a life-changing experience because you now think, and this I was in this position so many times that I think, well, yeah, it cannot be so complicated. So it's so, our process is really straightforward. But I can tell you, take all the people who are involved in this process in one room and do an event storming session. So maybe at some point should do a event storming, because this is one of the greatest tools on the world because it's so simple and so mind-blowing in the end. And then let everyone contribute what happens within this kind of process. And then you will discover so many things that are so interesting. And then this is definitely a better baseline to then maybe think about, I don't know, tech decisions. So where you can say, so look, this part of the process, there are a lot of errors and stuff happening, then it slows down. And so you can even it's super cool because you can identify bottlenecks, you can identify points where stuff always goes wrong. So for example, people picking up the wrong creatives or so. Easy. And I can tell you then, if you then start to invest and say, okay, maybe you can put our tech efforts in this kind of area, the good thing is like you will have a, let's say, really precise problem that you can solve, and you can immediately can see on the process that it has improved and so on, and so people can immediately see the effect of it. So my saying is always like process trumps data in the first place. So it's like,
yes,
because it's a lot, it's easier to implement, and it's in the end the results are definitely immediately more tangible, and data comes next. So data in the end will help you to improve the process. So it's a lot, and maybe automate things along the process. And so for that you need data. So data is basically one of the most important ingredients for a process, but start with process. I think this is, yes, yeah, exactly. There's the next thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a Peter Drucker, so like Google Drive thing that you can just pull in? And go like,
Who knows? Who knows?
who knows?
No, but I think this is actually
Live
at the
stream
core again
tech.
what we're just talking about. Is really that when you're thinking about your marketing technology landscape, which is derived from your data strategy, which is derived from your marketing strategy, which at the core is then your processes, because your processes are formed by the culture. It's like this feedback loop. Yeah, your culture forms your processes, but at the same time, your processes form your culture. And technology is always only the artifact that represents then this, most of the time, ball of entangled yarn, that data is flown to there, then pushed to there, then works down to there, and then, so yeah, doing a landscape drawing of what you want to achieve actually is more or less the starting point before even hiring somebody for your marketing technology needs, before even coming up with whatever tool you'd want to integrate, and coming up with even how do we want to use it. So it's really, what are your goals? What's the culture that we currently have? How do we currently achieve this? And then looking into, okay, how could technology help us either transforming the goal, so getting it somewhere else, making that better, or how can it make the process from where we are to where we want to go actually easier?
And then I think you already have a 60% better setup than most of the people have.
Yeah.
If you just do this, because you don't fall in this typical trap that, I mean, I think everyone is in danger of that. I'm the same. So like you see a cool tool and you think, wow, this would be great if I can live in this world using this tool every day. And you basically you buy the tool and then you find a problem for it. And
Yes.
so this is, I mean, it can, sometimes it works out, but rarely it does. And so it's a journey. It's frustrating for everyone involved there. So it's it doesn't make sense. So you don't really want to do this. So, but you have to disclose the friends in Hamburg, I guess. So you teasered them, and so at least now you have to show them. What
I really have to.
There. And yeah, so Alexander also promoted us. So
yeah, you're right.
It's not. So this is not a sponsored post. So this is just voluntary.
Nope. So,
but it's a nice example also, like for marketing tech, because they're some kind of problems that you might discover in a process.
Yes. I'm just trying to get their website up, and then we'll just quickly.
Sounds complicated.
No, it's not. But I'm just out with just my screens. So now I've got everything. So yeah, as Timo said, this is not sponsored. Also, then we happily. So this is Elpwalker, which they now, when they did the podcast with me, we were still thinking about, is it CDP, whatever. I now like them that they're calling themselves Data Delivery Platform. It would be great now to have Alex.
Yeah, I think we can make a session with
Ayla
and Alexander. Yeah. But it's
And
super hard to define a category in this place. So it's And so, but of course, like this is like for the question how you can achieve that, at least like you can make sure that your tracking implementation gets easier and better. So like they are one of the different tools that you can use to basically make sure that you only have one, let's say, front-end website tracking or app tracking. And this is the one place where the data comes in. So you just have one entry point, and then in their platform, you can then pass the data on to different places. So other examples, so that we have at least mentioned everyone, like Segment, Rudderstack, and Jitsu are the other, let's say, immediate candidate that can solve the other places. This is like an example for, let's say, so marketing that solves a specific kind of problem. And so this is definitely a problem that you track the same event 6 times and in a different way. And so then, yeah, you have to figure out what to use. So,
yes. So, hey, let's do a summary. We're coming to the hour. What's your takeaway?
First of all, my takeaway is like, I love when we have more technical, more precise topics in the future. I still struggle to do this on a high level, but for that, I think it was quite okay. And we didn't prepare anything. So this feedback on the whole session. I think feedback on, I think we scratched the surface, and I think it was a good point. I'm quite happy that we, in the end, even then touched a lot of things I think that are important in this whole process. So first off, I think what's important is really like to learn, okay, I think technology, you should not think that running a marketing team in the future without including technology does make sense. I think maybe there might be some edge cases where it makes sense, but in most cases it doesn't make sense. So technology will play an immediate part, and this whole operations technology part can become an element in your setup that can give you some benefits over your competition in a way. And so then, and to think about how to include development resources in your marketing team, I think this might be a good first, thought, and maybe things that you can discover how to do this. And then I think processes, I think it's the thing that you should take away. Map out your processes already in marketing, because this will already open up so many doors for you where you can think about, okay, let's look into this from a dev perspective. I think this is my major takeaway from today. And that that there are people out there watching us. So this is super strange still.
Yeah, that was something we talked about, actually, how the difference between live and recorded, and it's we can't take something back. So as just Timo, then pushed my nose onto it. Now you needed also show Eltwalker, you mustn't only talk about it. That could have been something I could have easily extracted. So shifting in formats. But my takeaway from here, and this is something interesting, because based on a post of Shady, where he and the podcast and the video he just released yesterday about data-driven marketing, and I just did a quick Google Trends research about data-driven marketing, and we had a spike in something about 2004 for whatever reason about data-driven marketing, but since the pandemic started, you've got a huge rise in search trends about data-driven marketing. And at the core, that is the intent of marketing technology, because you can't use it without actually then having the tech stack to enable yourself to use that data for either your analysis or your optimization of your bidding or your brand building or your content distribution or whatever else you're using it. So this again tightly locks into what we two are doing in our daily basis. And I love the notion that we came upon this marketing technology ops, which we derived from DevOps, to have somebody who's got the technical foundation and the marketing knowledge on the other hand, to actually drive a return from those tools, because most of the tools that we have are underutilized. So then you use maybe 30 to 40% of them. And then if you then look into your total cost of ownership, you won't have a positive return on invest. And for that to generate that is how you said you need that process landscape to actually get that going.
And this one person was really responsible, because you just mentioned now really two good points, and even like good metrics in the end that you can have, like this let's say facilitation rate. I don't know how you should calculate it, but there might be ways how to do it, and maybe really like this total cost of ownership thing that you at least think about how to incorporate this, because every year there comes the question from finance: do we still need this tool? Do you still use it? And so on. I mean, it's a valid question. Exactly. It costs money. So
Exactly. That's something that we can also do. So we've already got a backlog of topics, and if you girls and guys have got topics that you'd love us to talk about, or if you'd love to join us on one of the sessions, because we've already talked about us inviting guests and then discussing marketing technology with them together. That can be in completely different fields. So as we already said, we're going to invite Ayla and Alexander from Elkwaka, so this is already out there. We're going to talk about open source. We're going to talk about reverse ETL. We're going to talk about ETL, extraction transformation load, or ELT. We're going to talk about different types of marketing technology. And then, Timo, I did the opening, so the closing is for you. The only thing that I'd love to say before that is, everybody, thank you for your comments. Thank you for staying on board for our rambling. And I'm really looking forward to meeting you all again in 2 weeks. And thank you, Timo.
Well, thank you. So you should have told me that before, then I could have wrote a script for the closing words. No, I mean the same. So thanks for everyone joining us for this. Really, it was the first time for us, and we totally motivated to do a lot more throughout the year to really dive more into this really interesting topic. And I'm so happy that you already put so much comments in that. That's a huge help. And so really, like, this creates the format in the end. And so thanks for that. And well, then have a great Thursday and see you then. I don't know, when is it? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
27th. Yeah.
Exactly. Perfect. And you're all going to get an invite again. Bye-bye.
Bye.